Hello everyone, Storm11 here. Today we'll be taking a look into for a period of severe weather that'll be going across the several plains and northeastern into the mid-Mississippi Valley and even for the portions of the Midwest. Let's go ahead and get started with the SPC outlook here. As you can see here, we do have a standard slight risk across for a small portion of Texas there. Really, the primary threat is tornadoes and damaging winds. We did see a few tornadoes this morning in those pretty much those general same areas. Right now, damaging winds should be the dominant threat. There was a 5% chance for tornadoes earlier, but they've taken that away, and also for some large hails possible as well. And there's also a couple marginal risks there as well. So this is tomorrow. This is when things start to get a little bit more active. We do have we have an enhanced risk for severe storms that have been going across ports, most of western Oklahoma into north central Texas. Tornado threat is there. It's still kind of low in with a 5%. We could see a few supercells that could develop. And they may have a chance of producing a couple tornadoes. Damaging winds would be the primary threat, but very large hail could be there as well, mainly with those supercells have a better chance of producing very large hail, which is 2 inches plus a diameter of hail. Oh, hold on. And day 3, which this is, I believe, Thursday, there's a standard slight risk across anywhere from southeastern Kansas through central Missouri into central um, Illinois. Really, all threats are on the table. Large hail, damage winds, even for a couple tornadoes. I think damage winds will be the primary threat with this type of setup, and I would not be surprised for an enhanced for us to get issue, and I'll show you guys why in just a moment. But let's first take a look into the Hurricane version 4. So this is one of the newer models. We'll take a look to Supercell Composite first, because that's what everybody will be interested in. And as we get into the morning hours, it's pretty low. But as those supercells start to develop, you do have some spotty areas of about between 4 and 7 up here, but the main area of focus is going to be these areas in here. That's where we see have the better chance for supercells, and then when they start to combine in line, when the front starts to catch up, there'll be more damage wind, top of storms, kind of a squall line of storms. And there'll be a lot of cape there in these areas as well, anywhere from 2,000 to 4,000 cape, which is quite a bit, but it's normal pretty much this time of year, so don't go crazy over with Cape. There's your storms down there in portions of southern Texas. Some up there at Felicity there. That's what those black marks mean. As we go later in today, those storms will really start to fire up, as you can see there. As we go by the hour, here's the next hour. Look at all these supercells developing in the Texas Panhandle, and they really become pretty large storms in the Texas Panhandle. These are likely supercells, but when that front gets there, you can see what kind of happens. They don't become supercellular, they're more damage wind dominant here. So that is your squall line there. And that's really what's creating the um, damage winds uh, for for tomorrow for the enhanced risk. And that goes on for the next thing. And a very interesting feature that I see on this model here. Pay attention over here. See that spinning down there? That might be a MCV, which is kind of a mesoscale convective vortex, I believe. I just learned this earlier, but the NAM 12KM was showing it up in Missouri, Illinois to Kentucky, but now that's gone. But that's kind of interesting to see there. When that gets over to tropical waters, that can easily become a tropical system or a hurricane possibly. So we're going to watch it to see if that verifies here. That usually comes from dissipating MCS, which you guys saw that there. There's your MCS right here, and then you can see they're kind of spinning, and then with more daytime heating, you got some pretty good storms out ahead of it. So something to keep an eye on there. And we'll take a look into the HER model, the original. As you can see here, as we get into later in the day, you can see there those storms really start to fire up in the Texas Panhandle. So really the better chance for tornadoes of very large hail, where I'm seeing is in the Texas Panhandle. You can see how they really start to blow up and then becoming a squall line storms. And when you see these bowling segments like this, that can really contain some damage winds. And decide to go that far out where the HER version 4 is, but we'll see if that verifies. And that'll be pretty interesting uh, type of MCV, which is basically a low pressure system deepening. It's a very small one, pretty much. But so um let's move on to this map here that I've made. So this is valid May 13th to the 17th. In that dark red area, that's where we could see severe weather likely in this time period. But in this lighter yellow shade, more of a pink color, that's where we see severe weather possible. But we can see a few strong storms in these areas in here. I can zoom in a little bit. As you can see here, this dark red area includes the Texas Panhandle, portions of Oklahoma, southeastern Kansas, into central Missouri and Illinois. And with this lighter shade red or pink, it comes from central Texas, northward into Iowa, and then westward into Kentucky, Ohio, West Virginia, even for portions of Pennsylvania. I might need to back this off. I think that's too far to the east. And probably back it off to more, probably take it away from West Virginia and Pennsylvania, because this will change around some. But let's go back here to day 3, which is a little bit interesting. Type of day to watch here. I think we can see a possibility for an MCS here. Not the ratio, but the MCS on this day here. So here's the day on Thursday. You do have some scattered showers and thunderstorm activity in these areas in here. But here's your front right here. There can also be some flooding in these areas in here, which I'll show you guys the rainfall totals from the Weather Prediction Center and their excessive rainfall outlook in just a moment. But I want you to show you guys how these storms really start to develop. And here you go. Here's your MCS possibility. Some models have it a little bit further northeast here, but this is something we gotta watch here very closely. There. Let's take a look into a different product. Let's take a look into the Super Silk Composite. Um, some of these websites has just not really been working for me today. It seems like, all right, here we go. So as you can see here during the day on Thursday, the Super Silk Composite is not that high. It's actually pretty widespread. It even extends pretty much off the screen here. But let's go into Central Illinois for an example. I think the tornado threat should be overall kind of low. At this point, it just depends if we see any supercells to develop and they have a better chance for some tornadoes or along the MCS, and it's not going to work for us. So let's try to get a different area. It's pretty high in western Kansas. I'm at eastern Kansas. Let's see if we can get one from there. Typically, you want the highest area you can find. The highest numbers to get really the truth of thing here of what the atmosphere could really be like. So for this hodograph, it's okay. Uh, Definitely a pretty good setup for some large scale producers. You got high K values. There is some shear. Low level shear is not really that strong. The hodograph, however, it's a pretty good hodograph. The effective layer STP. It's pretty high, but I think that's a little bit overdone there. So it's a decent one. It's not the best one you ever see. but it's okay. That's where that MCS can develop, and you can tell where it really is there. But I don't think there's anything else we're gonna look into. Oh yeah, let's take a look into the excessive rainfall outlook on day 3. So the Weather Prediction Center has a slight risk anywhere from western. I always, for some reason, I'm getting that backwards. Eastern Kansas through central Missouri, central Illinois. So for the some very similar areas, but it also includes northern Indiana, far northwestern Ohio, and southwestern Michigan there. So these guys here have a better chance for some flash flooding and even for some excessive rainfall. Let's take a look into the 120-hour precipitation. And as you can see here, so for this is the next 5 days, there's going to be quite a bit of rain for those areas. Some areas can see up to 4 inches of rain. So these areas here you gotta watch uh, for this later this week because you guys will probably see some flash flooding issues, and it's pretty much the plains out there. I've been into these areas over here before, so most areas are pretty much flat. So we're gonna have to keep an eye on for some flooding issues for Kansas, Missouri, Illinois, even Indiana. So you guys got to watch for that. Here's a model here that I found not too long ago. So this is IPS. This is really the GFS and analogs put it together in this. Yeah, hopefully I'm correct on that. Well, the GFS ensembles, and they kind of put it together into one model. I've heard this. I mean, this model is experimental, so it's not the best in the world, but it's, in my opinion, a decent model to use that kind of helps us out, especially when you put analogs in there. That can really help us a lot. So analogs is just where the atmosphere is very similar, and I kind of put into things. Well, that's probably the worst explanation, but that's really I can really give you for what analogs are. So most of you guys should know what analogs are. But anyways, so this is today. It has a 30% across western Texas. Well, that's not really happening today. So that really gets to show you it's not really a great model. It's the GFS is almost an analog spin into one thing. So that's what could happen here. But kind of wrong on that. So that's today. Let's look into tomorrow. Now, this is a little bit more accurate. It's got a 60 to 75% in this general area, but it's got 45% extending into Kansas, so it's a pretty large area uh, from this model here. And let's take a look into the tornado threat, which it has it up in Kansas there at 2%, which is pretty low. Let's move into day 3. So the tornado threat goes back into Texas, and really the main better chance for severe storms is across Kansas, Missouri, Illinois, and Indiana. If we go to all severe category, it's a little bit further north. It's got a 45% in northern Illinois and southern Wisconsin. So this is not really a good model, but it's something nice to have. And they're still working on it. Keep in mind, it's experimental. So, oh, I did not know what I just do there, but kind of experiment this here a little bit. Hmm. Interesting. Let's move on to day 4. Now, this is something we're going to keep an eye on. Severe weather really starts to fire up in the Texas Panhandle, Oklahoma, Kansas, even Colorado. But I want you guys to pay attention to the lower Ohio Valley, the Tennessee Valley, the Mid-Atlantic region. This model here is really showing for something to happen over in this area. Still at 30%, there's even 30% across the Southern Plains. Move on to day 6. Now, the Mid-Atlantic starts to steal the show. So this is kind of enhanced risk territory here for 30%. Chance for severe storms. And then it really starts to go away on day 7. And then there's day 8. So, yeah. on that. So really, not knowing the several places to go watch for severe weather, these areas over here has to as well. Now, after we should get a small break for a couple of days, but the Climate Prediction Center is highlighting for another chance for severe storms, really happening for 2 days, so it's not bad. But as you can see here, they're highlighting severe weather and for pretty much the Great Plains for the most part, anywhere from central Oklahoma northward into southern Minnesota, Iowa, and even portions of South Dakota. Those guys haven't seen severe weather in a while, so severe weather's not really over yet after this. So, and here's a larger view. That's a slight risk for heavy precipitation. And if we kind of move on into the pattern, and my dogs are barking in the background. My apologies there. Um, was going to move on to the Climate Prediction Center outlook here. We'll expand internationally. So the east, even the central and eastern United States, is really starting to warm up here. So that's 6 to 10 days. Let's look into precipitation. It actually looking to be dry. It's also very wet across California there. So this kind of gets to show you we'll be seeing a break here for severe storms. This is 8 to 14 days now. Things are starting to shift again. So this is May 20th to the 26th. And it's dry across the eastern United States. It's starting to get wetter across the plains, pretty much the entire plains, even portions of the Northwest. And here's the temperatures for the same time frame. So basically, your high pressure is over the Lower Ohio Valley and the Tennessee Valley. And you can see here some colder air across the Rockies there. So we're going to keep an eye on this. This is a pretty decent severe weather setup. This is from May 20th to the 26th. But anyways, guys, this is all I care for you guys today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the severe weather update video. If you guys did like this video, hit that like button. If you really do like my channel, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification so you're there for best I upload. If you guys got questions about this, you can put a comment section down below. I will answer your guys' questions. I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.